everybody. It's another Thursday.
It is another Thursday, and we're here to join you
I
all.
know, and we are. And tomorrow, your social media will be flooded with
back to
back to
school
school pictures.
because this past week you got all the back to college pictures,
Yes,
right?
yep.
Everybody
Mhm.
was moving their kids into the
Oh,
dorms.
I know all the dorms, and it's
just
how
kind of
decorated, so cute. And then by
No.
next week, it'll be crap thrown
Right.
on the floor.
You'll have the clothes piled over the chairs.
Oh, exactly. Pizza boxes. And
Right,
all that
right.
kind of stuff,
And
yeah.
starting tomorrow, because in Iowa, I don't know what other states are like, but
Yep.
tomorrow is the back to school
back
day,
to school day. Yeah.
which
so,
is funny on a Friday, I think. But
yeah, it is, and it's only a partial day.
yes, like my kids get out at 1:30 in the afternoon.
So
I always say it's like actually instead of having back to school night,
yeah,
it's almost like back to school day.
yeah,
Like,
it is.
like here's your classes, here's where you're gonna go, here's your teachers. You get out
Yeah.
at 1:30, so they're shortened classes. So it's
Right.
like, hey, here you are, you got your stuff.
So maybe that is a good way to start on Friday, just to get everybody, because the first day is always so hectic. Where do I
Yes.
go? Where do I sit? What books do I need? Who's my teacher? So you get all that
Kind of out of the way.
out of the way, and then you can start Monday fresh.
Yeah.
I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
But too bad they don't do that for work.
That'd be kind of fun.
I know, wouldn't it be?
When
Yeah.
do we have it though? Like,
I don't know.
do we have time off that then we get to come back?
And we don't really.
No.
Sorry. Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah, I
It'd
know.
be fun. Maybe we could have it like just this random
Yeah.
day of
Yeah.
welcome.
back to work. Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't sound fun. Although teachers kind of have a welcome back to
They
work.
do, which
Yeah,
they are
every
all
August. They're-
started too. They're all
A
kind of
couple
doing
weeks
their
ago,
yes.
yeah.
Started. I think I know a few of them.
Yep.
19th or something like that was their.
Yeah,
So they
exactly.
have their professional
Yep.
work days.
My grandkids go to Norwalk, and there's a brand new second, third grade building. And actually, the first graders are also going to be in that building this year because they're redoing the first grade
Oh,
building.
yeah.
So I was kind of a fruit basket upset with where kids are going this year. But they went back to school night, and the teacher said, "Well, I don't have bookshelves yet."
Oh,
You know, brand
Right.
new, brand new
Nice.
school, but not
Well,
all the stuff there. Yeah, so
right.
not ready to go.
right. That's
Yeah.
funny.
So my books are in boxes. So
Oh, yeah, so we're just we're in crates,
Right,
right? So we're
right.
just gonna like work with it
Yeah.
as we go. Teachers are so good at that. They are so good at just
Yes.
kind of going with the flow and the punches,
they
right?
have to. I
They
mean,
do.
yeah. I mean, it's trying to organize 26 kids. It's like I couldn't do it.
Well,
It's hard enough to manage myself,
I
let
know.
alone.
So my degree, is in teaching
I know.
elementary
I know.
ed, and yeah, I'm working with adults now.
Right. And a lot of those adults went from elementary to middle to high school to college and ended up with
Some student debt.
student debt. Ooh,
I
ouch.
know, and now
Yeah.
a lot of them have graduated from college and
Yes.
they like to buy a home, and they've got
Student
student debt.
loan debt, right?
Mhm. And it's kind of one of those, even if you watch the news and everything, right? It's a really big factor right
Right.
now, and it does impact the way
Right.
that some people can buy a house right
Right.
now and what they can afford to buy a house at. And
Okay, so what are some steps to do when, I'm out of college now, I've been out for a few years, I've got my career started,
Mhm.
starting a family, we'd like to find something bigger than the 2-bedroom condo we're living in right
Yes.
now. So Lisa, help me out.
Right, what's my options?
What are my options?
So I would say, especially those that have a lot of student debt, because it's I meet with a lot of people, or I'm talking on the phone,
Right.
and one of the first things that a lot of people are saying, like I'm like, hey, is it okay if I pull your credit, or let's take a look, right? And they are always like, okay, so just so you know, I've got a lot of student debt,
Yeah,
and my partner has a lot of student debt, or I co-sign for my children and we have a lot of student debt, right?
Gosh.
I mean, so there's so many factors that go into that. So I always say be upfront, and
Mhm.
like I love it that people are like, yep. I'm like, well, let's take a look, right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
because when you have student debt,
Mhm.
you have it. You can be in a lot of different phases
Hmm.
of your student debt.
Okay,
So not only do you have a lot of different things, but you have phases of it. So actually, you
Okay.
have if you've been out a few years and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
you might have your actual payment might be showing. You might be out of deferment
okay,
and you're into your work, because
Right.
usually there's a certain time period. So you are fully amortized, fully into that student debt period. So
Okay.
a payment shows up on your credit report typically, and that's kind of where you're at.
okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Sometimes a lot of people are in deferment.
Okay, so I've been a long time since student loans. So what's a typical deferment time?
So I think it's different for different types
Oh,
of
okay,
loans. I see a lot of different things come in.
Okay.
Typically after you graduate, because you can, it's from when you graduate,
Mhm.
typically it's like 12 months or something, but I'm seeing a lot of people that they extend their deferments.
Okay.
I mean, student loans are always changing. Just like I have my guides right here, only because like this was last updated July 8th,
Okay.
because loan program,
Ever-changing.
it's ever changing, hence even student loans are ever changing, which
Okay.
makes our guidelines ever changing, which all those
Okay.
things. So
yeah, if you just graduated from college, you're starting your new job, you want to buy a place, but you've got deferment there. So right now that payment isn't part of your credit report,
now,
correct?
usually, typically when you're in deferment, it will say on the bottom of your credit report, depending on who's holding your student loan, it will say deferment and your payment will be 0, typically.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, and so then you can also be in forgiveness.
Okay.
That's special circumstances, usually either financially or job-wise, that you call and you ask, nope, sorry, I'm wrong on that one. Forbearance is that one.
Okay.
So I don't even have that one up there. That's what that's called.
Okay.
Forgiveness is kind of goes along with cancellation. There's a lot of student loan programs right now. If you're a teacher, right now I have quite a few teachers that we've been like, okay, they're not that big of loans, but they're like, I'm not going to pay it off because we're
Right.
trying to get their debt to income ratio.
Correct.
Because they're in a forgiveness and they're teaching in a lot of times low income schools.
Okay.
And if they teach there for so long, they can apply and their student loans are forgiven. Or canceled. They call them different loan people call it differently. So that's an option. And then there's income-based repayment plans. So sometimes you're showing a payment on your credit report, but your student loans, you're out of deferment, you're showing a payment, but you're in an IBR or an income-based repayment plan. So that says that you've given them what you're making and your payment would be here, but because your income is here, you get a lower payment.
Okay. That's a lot of information.
It is.
Yeah, it's almost like taking, student loan debt 101, right?
It really is.
Sign up for the class. It's Monday and Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 11:50.
Yeah. It is. And when we talk to people, even just calling and getting this information, sometimes they're just like, oh my gosh. And nobody really, I must say, I feel bad. I know one of the biggest, even at the, oh my gosh, I can't think of their name now. But anyway, one of the biggest complaints is having to call for student loans and figure them out, like all that kind of stuff.
Right. So it's just not a one size fits all. There are a lot of programs and a lot of issues. I wouldn't call them issues, but
there's a lot
characterizations of your student loan debt and how that's going to affect how you're going to apply for loans.
Yeah, so then the whole thing goes into, if you are looking at a conventional loan, which typically the lowest is 3% down all the way up to your 20% down programs, right? Conventional loan. Both Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae are the two people that support, right, mostly your conventional loans.
Right.
Freddie looks at your student loans differently than Fannie Mae, potentially.
Okay, wow.
So you've got Freddie and Fannie look at it differently. FHA looks at it differently. VA so VA, if you are a veteran, utilize the VA program. Yes, it is so good. So if you can show that your student loans are it's the only program, if your student loans are deferred for 12 months and we can show that, you do not have to count those into your debt to income ratios to qualify for VA. The only program that allows you to do that.
Outstanding.
USDA and FHA are the most strict.
Okay.
On student loan payments.
Okay.
And then we have all these specialty loan programs. Some of them follow Fannie Mae. Others have their own special guidelines for student loans as well.
Okay.
So you have to know, because even within Fannie and Freddie, if you have no payment showing, so it shows 0, like Freddie, if you can prove it, you only have to use 0.5% of your balance, where Fannie Mae could say you have to use 1% of your balance.
Okay.
So you need somebody too that really knows the loan programs, because whether you use 0.5% and you can go Freddie could get you into the purchase price or the home you would like, versus Fannie Mae where you're using 1%. So if you have $100,000 of student debt, that makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
If your loans are in deferment and show a 0 payment,
Right.
that makes a big difference on your payment.
Holy smokes, that's a lot for the first day of class. I mean, seriously, I mean, if you are gonna, that's why you need somebody who understands all this. Even if she has cheater notes, which she really didn't refer
I
to.
do, but yes.
That really understands all the pieces that go into this, because it's not just, I have this much to pay back and I want to get this loan. There's so many different factors that fall into that.
I think so. And I would say too, the other question we get a lot is, well, my loans are in deferment and I have zero payment. Because when the housing crisis happened, right, you are going to have a payment on those student loans.
Exactly.
And they want you not to get into a bad situation with your house in the future, because when your student loans come due, that is going to be a payment that you have.
Right.
So typically, you need to we have to figure out what that payment's going to be, or where that's at. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, actually, because you can see all my notes that are here.
Yeah.
So that's, even though it seems like a lot, that's really sort of just
a capsule of all that goes into it. Well, I would say, Lisa, that your first day of class, you earned a gold star.
Oh my gosh.
I know. See, that teaching degree came in handy.
Yay! Thank
so,
you.
Yeah. So for all those kids going back to school,
gold star.
you get a gold star too. And for all those teachers getting back in that classroom, kudos to you, because that's something I couldn't never do.
We appreciate our teachers.
Absolutely.
So having our kids in your classrooms and everything, you guys are amazing.
Absolutely. So you get to deal with them for the 6 hours you don't have to. So anyway, everybody have a great back to school week. If you have any questions about student loans and how that's going to impact you buying a home, give us a shout and we'll help you out. So
Absolutely.
everybody have a great Thursday.